Hello, I'm Glen Scrivener from Speak Life. We see all things through the lens of Jesus. And today we've got a very special guest, Mary Harrington, whose new book is just out. It's called Feminism Against Progress. And Mary joins me on the line. Mary, thanks so much for joining me.
Thank you for having me, Glenn.
What have you got against progress, Mary? Progress is great. You seem like a lovely person, and yet you're taking aim at this transcendent ideal in our culture. What have you got against progress?
Well, it's not so much that I have something against progress as that I lost my faith in progress. I don't believe in it. And I'll try and unpack that for you a little bit. It is my view that what we understand as progress is much... It only looks progressive if you narrow your terms so much that you can't see the costs. And that in most cases, what it is in practice is a set of technologies that free us from what previously looked like natural limits to what we can do. You know, we can make water run uphill, or we can genetically engineer animals, or, you know, we can interrupt the relationship between sex and reproduction, or etc. You know, 1,001 ways that we can liberate ourselves from previously natural seeming limits. And most of those come under the rubric of progress. A great many of them have impacted women in very immediate ways. I lost my faith in progress as a result of some sort of personal biographical things that all happened at once in my late 20s, where I, without boring you with the details of what happened to me, I just came to see this entire theology, and I see it straightforwardly as a theology which is sort of spun out of relatively recent Christian past, and which is it's like somebody's taken a belt sander to Christianity and taken off any of the difficult bits and just left us with the idea that things can and should go on getting better forever. Right. And generally speaking, when people want to cite evidence of progress, they will take sort of belt sanded Christian values and point to the ways technology has got us closer to those values. It is my view that, generally speaking, those points are only provable if you leave out the ways in which things have got worse at the same time. And by that, to be clear, I don't mean that I'm an anti-progressive. I don't think the world is going to hell in a handcart. You know, I don't think the inverse is true. I just think, in moral terms, we exist in something in this life. We exist in something more like a steady state, and it's not actually possible to attain heaven on earth. And so when you see. And yet this idea of progress is just in the water. It's so pervasive that even supposedly conservative think tanks or political parties or whatever will just routinely give themselves names that suggest moving forward rather than going backwards. You know, it's invariably about onward or refresh or reframe or revitalize.
Things can only get better.
Things can only get better. Yeah, I think the peak progress to my eye was somewhere between 1995 and 2008, the Great Crash, which was the year of my personal Great Crash, the year I lost my faith in progress. Which was, it was a devastating experience, which had personal components and also sort of macro political components. And I'd say it took me a solid 7 years of reading and thinking to rebuild something like a functioning worldview or way of relating to other people after that. And I won't bore your listeners with my personal journey, but it was a real recovery story. You know, losing your faith in progress is to lose your entire matrix for how and why the world, and how and why me in the context of the world. And I imagine, I dare say people who lose a more explicitly religious faith, you know, find themselves very much adrift in very much the same way.